Hello, everyone, and welcome to this next lesson. And I think you're going to enjoy this because it's understanding thinking correctly. Understanding thinking correctly. Thinking is the big thing about life is as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. But one of the most important things between success and failure is actually the way we think. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to recognize your spirit mind. In fact, one of the first things I ever realized and actually tried was to build after years and years of struggles and failure. I learned the importance of this one thing that we're going to talk about in this lesson, and that is having a healthy mindset. And I don't mean a mindset in a traditional sense, if you will, where it's like the buzzword of the day, having a mindset or a focus. I mean more of in a practical sense. I mean the recognition that we have the mind of Christ, and have is a past tense verb. In fact, in 2 Corinthians 2:16, it says, "For who has known the mind of the Lord that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ." So what does this mean? So let's get into it. It means allow the mind to operate at peak performance. So what to do is to take a few minutes to actually break it down in such a way that I hope that this will give you, well, in order you to actually help you get traction in what we're talking about in this brief lesson, because it's so important that we understand how the mind works, because it's all about the mind. So you can go from stuck to unstuckable in every area of your life. So let's go jump right into it, because I think this first number one thing is start every single day in what I refer to as an attitude of gratitude. Okay, now that you've heard probably every guru, every major influencer in the personal development area talk about the importance of this attitude of gratitude, because they all talk about it. So why is it important? Because not one single person who has ever achieved high levels of success, high levels of possibilities, high levels of personal and growth, that has not recognized the importance of gratitude. So much of life is really around this idea here about being thankful for the little things so that you can be made a master over much. That's just a principle. Have an attitude of gratitude for the small things, and then you can be over the large things. So what do we want to do here? We are to develop an attitude of gratitude daily. So let me give you a little example here that's a possibility. For example, every single morning, it's an excellent idea to spend about first 15 minutes or so in prayer or meditation. Now, that means different things for different people. So I'm not going to go to the specifics because it'll mean something to everybody here that's watching this. But it's being grateful for the life that you and I have now, especially after all the adversities that we've gone through this last year in particular. As I'm making this video, well, the virus is here. Now, I didn't start this once had some success. I started doing this long before success followed me. The question for you is success following you? Are you walking up? Are you waking up and spending time being thankful just for the fair air that you breathe? Now, I can promise you that really a good thing is because COVID. That's going on right now at the time I'm making this video lesson. Yes, we're in the middle of this epidemic, and there are some people just not making it because they aren't able to breathe. Some people right now might actually be struggling for oxygen. That's why it's important. As long as you're faithful in responsible with the small things, being in a thankful place, then it's hard to be hateful when you're grateful. Let me say that again. It's hard to be hateful when you're grateful. As long as you're doing those things, it's going to lead you towards consistent, successful behaviors. And that's what we're talking about in this lesson. Being successful is doing something daily. All right. Number 2, it is to watch what you say and watch what you say. Now, I don't mean watch what you say to other people as much as perhaps what I'm talking about here is watch what you're saying to the person that you see in the mirror. Why? Because you'll always be your toughest critic. Well, you know that you're your worst critic. You'll always want to know your flaws. Why? Because your thoughts, while they may be incredibly loud, other people can't hear your thoughts. When you're criticizing yourself, you're actually harming yourself. It's what you're saying to yourself that really matters. You're talking about low sense of self-worth and the lies about your true identity. All the differences, things that, well, we tell ourselves that are completely garbage. When we tell ourselves this stuff, we're not truthful. We're not recognizing our perfect spirit mind, really not recognizing our full potential. What we want to do, on the other hand, is this. What is it? We want to talk ourselves into possibilities and not out of them. Let me say that again. We want to talk ourselves into possibilities and not out of them, because all things are possible because we're one with God. So the question is, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Am I consistently telling myself that I am an imposter by not recognizing my true divinity as my identity, saying I can't create possibilities, I can't generate my own successful outcomes? What I'm talking to myself about is how to live life successfully. Ask, what do I need to do? If you go back and watch my early videos, you can see I'm not exactly all that polished on camera. I'm just me. And what you see in this video, well, it's just me. So it's not the sharpest guy that's doing videos today. But one of the things I'm learning is more that I do something is the better that I get at it. That's just the truth. But the reality is, if you continue at it and you continue telling yourself you can do things that maybe you didn't really think you could originally, but now you're building. That is, you're building over time a consistent level of confidence. The confidence will bleed, hear me clearly, your confidence will bleed into performances, purposes, significance, significant meaning, affirmations, connections. You see this? And so on and so on. So much more. So the question is, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself? All right, then this is going to lead me into my third point, which is affirmations. This is powerful here because I'm going to give you something that's going to help you tremendously on a website that I have. Because when it comes down to affirmations, I'm talking about practical. I can tell you that it is healthy to say, I am smart, I am intelligent, I am not going to be defined by my background. I'm not going to be defined by what someone else believes. That's so important. Are you being defined by what other people believe? Are you going to say, I can achieve it? It's none of their business what I can achieve. That's my business, and that's their business. It's not my responsibility to create the steps. It's my responsibility, what? To read the books, to watch the videos, to get a mentor. You understand what I'm saying here? It's my responsibility. It's my responsibility, just like it's yours. So take responsibility. We are conditioned, unfortunately, by overall culture, however. And that's one of the problems that we have because the culture is trying to dictate what we do. You have to decide right now to step up and take ownership of what you can be, and then what you think is possible. And to do that at very small steps. Begin by looking in the mirror and saying, I am smart. I am intelligent. I am gifted. I am worthy. I'm worthy of being loved. I am a lovable person. So I want you to go to my website to get some free information at www.quantumlifenow.org. And there's a lot of good free information there. In fact, there's a recording with affirmations with music. So take a listen. And if you're interested, well, you also can get certification through that particular program. So over there and check it out at www.quantumlifenow.org. Now, if you really want to win in life, you really want to be successful, you really want to stop thinking negative thoughts, then you have to audibly hear those types of things consistently over time. It doesn't happen overnight. But before long, the program that you're listening to, well, what it's going to do is control your thoughts. And now it's going to overwrite your thoughts like you do when you do an update on your computer system. You've done that before, and you see how it brings it up to the latest program. Well, that's what it's going to do when you listen to those affirmations over and over with the music and just relaxing and let the affirmation do its work. So again, affirmations are important in that it goes down to the positive things that we listen to, that you're telling yourself, about your future. It doesn't have to be fluffy. It doesn't have to be fairy dust, but it does have to become part of your routine. It has to be part of your routine. I mean, right now, let's go to the next one, which is rest and replenish. Rest and replenish. This is very important. Here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. For too many times, we stay focused on what? Go, go, go. Only to realize that the next day, we're exhausted. We don't want to take a step. We're tired. We're burned out. The next day, we don't want to learn something because, well, we're just fried. We're tired. So when it comes down to rest and replenishment, it's got to be part of your realistic plan because your brain is foggy. It's going to be really hard for you to actually program basically anything at top performance levels. Your thought process has to be triggered by action. And your thought processes, well, they have to be triggered by blood flow. And then your thoughts have to be processed to be triggered by a good what? Blood supply, nutrients, things of the natural things in life. It's got to make sure that you get those nutrients. I'm big in taking nutritional products because part of my regime every day. It's part of my success to have your brain to draw on those nutrients to make it stronger. And over time, it will be, but it takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Nutritional products are slow processes. It's not like drugs. You take something and then it takes care of the problem. So, as you're doing your gratitude, you're watching what you say, and you're listening to the affirmations, and your brain now is absorbing all those things that you're listening to and you're doing, then it becomes part of your DNA, so to speak. Therefore, rest. Therefore, rest and replenish because it's necessary. I need you to remember 6 days and 1 off. This is important. For you go-getters, you got to do this. One day, you got to take off. You're going to rest. You're going to put down the phone. You're going to put down the computer. You're going to put down distractions and actually rest and get enough rest and relaxation and sleep. When your brain is exhausted, it does not fire properly. And you know that already. You don't need to have me to say that. You know you're exhausted. You can't think properly. And whether that be nutrition or sleep, or your brain just needs to be rested to perform at its maximum level. Otherwise, you may suffer from symptoms of depression, and you don't want that. So, depression and anxiety, they don't help you reach your goals. Just to name a few things are the byproducts of being sleep deprived. And so many people are sleep deprived. They just don't get enough rest and relaxation. So they need this rest and replenish is a pivotal part of how you actually shape your thoughts. This is crucial. And some of you may want to overlook this, but you got to remember you got to rest the brain and you got to feed the brain. It can actually control the overall outcome of thoughts that you achieve and seek to achieve. What I mean by that is a tired brain is going to have a much more difficult time controlling your thoughts and getting something more productive out of it. A tired brain is going to have a really, really hard time with what we're talking about here. It's not going to be doing those affirmations. It's not going to start to wander into a false self syndrome. I call it distorted thinking. And all the other limited beliefs that we have to deal with. You know what I'm talking about. You've got to rest your mind in order to actually build momentum. You've got to actually rest your mind. So let's go to the next one. Number 5. You're going to want to breathe early and often. You got to what? Breathe early and often. Now, I know that sounds a bit counterintuitive, but what I mean by that is intentional, deep breaths. You know, when you're working hard at something, you're focusing, sometimes you have a tendency to hold your breath. You don't breathe properly. So, why do you want to do this? Why? A couple of different things. First of all, it slows your tempo. Second of all, it slows and brings down your blood pressure. And third of all, it gives you enough oxygen to give your brain a spark, like a big jump of oxygen and air, so to speak. When you do that, you're allowing your brain to take in everything that it needs that's coming through your arteries and your blood vessels, and then recycling it in such a way that brings you to a place called center. Center. I've learned by doing these things, this piece right here builds on the momentum and the other 4 that we've been talking about. But when I added this to it, I get what most people call flow. Now, flow by nature is the most creative place that you can be. It's more than just operating in your passions and your giftedness. It's more than just operating in your strengths. It's a place where your thoughts are flowing. Some people do it as a runner. They call it a runner's high. Some people do it as a swimmer. They call it a swimmer's high. It's a flow. Now, I watch basketball, and when these guys get into the flow, they make those shots. They do everything about them. It's easier and easier to identify, and the processes that were hard are now become easier. They end what they call a flow. And you can see that when they play golf or when they play basketball or football or whatever. But these are stepping stones. These are stepping stones. Everything in your life is going to come through what? This is important. It gets right down to the heart. What down to the heart? So what does this mean to get right down to the heart? Well, there's something here that I think is this. Everything you focus on, what you feel, What you take action on is what really becomes your result. It becomes your result. So if you want to win at life, business, or some career, or whatever it may be, anything in every area of your life, you've got to master the mind. You've got to master the mind. You have only one place to focus, just one place to focus to get unstoppable results. Unstoppable results. So what it is, it's the mind. It's the mind. That's what this whole lesson is about. It's the way that we think. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what is that? It's out of Scripture. It's telling us in Proverbs 23:7 that. So this is one of my go-to scriptures. In fact, the next one is also connected to that as well. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. What? Everything you do flows from it? Out of Proverbs 4:23, yes. So everything is a heart issue. If somebody comes to me as the coach, counselor, and mentor that I've been doing for many, many years, and they tell me their problem, their issues, it's really a heart issue because there's something wrong with the way they're thinking, because their thinking is not on track of understanding who they are and who they have always been. It's a spirit being. Just slow down to visibility that we can recognize each other on this earth. So you have a heart issue, it's really a thinking issue, and that's what this lesson is all about. We got to work on the way that you think, because that will propel you to the next level of becoming what you want to be. I've enjoyed doing this with you, and I pray that you will get the message, that you'll embrace it, that you'll work it, it'll become part of your DNA, as I said before, that you will be more than you ever thought you could be because of taking this particular lesson. If you only had this one only, it could change your life. So as always, I say in the end, be blessed because you already are. Bye-bye now.